It is a new era for Alabama football. After 17 seasons and 6 national championships, Nick Saban finally called it a career. And now it is up to Kalen DeBoer to carry on his legacy and to continue the winning ways in Tuscaloosa. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Ready to kick off our SEC football predictions, saving the best for last. And we begin with the Alabama Crimson Tide. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of our expert picks, guys. Some of the best spread picks in the country for one of the lowest prices in the country. You do not want to miss out on those expert picks. The links for that down in the description below. We're beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 6 years. It'll be 7 by the end of this year. So if you want to win big with us, go sign up today. Sign up for those exclusive newsletters. Also on our website, everything down there is for you to take advantage of, to enjoy this season, and to become a member of our GE Nation. So this is a team, guys, in Alabama that I think it's probably one of the most intriguing teams in the country this year because of the loss of Nick Saban. This is a team that's been so dominant for so long, and now it's like this is a team that's going in with a new coach, with new players, with new schemes, with new culture. Everything's just changing in Tuscaloosa. But the people that are saying that Alabama is going to see a significant drop-off and that they're going to struggle mightily in 2024, well, that's just ridiculous. This is still a team that has a phenomenal coach. Kalen DeBoer, 104-12 in his college coaching career. 9 seasons, none of them losing seasons. Went 14-1 last year as the national runner-up at Washington. A brilliant offensive mind. He's got the talent. I mean, you could argue that Kalen DeBoer has always done more with less. Well, he definitely doesn't have less now. He's loaded with talent at Alabama. We'll start with the offense. That starts with Jalen Milroe. That is what this offense is for Alabama. You know, it's amazing what his journey was last year. Milroe struggling early in the year, got benched very early in the year, came back, and then lit it up after that. 2,800 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, 530 rushing yards, and 12 rushing touchdowns. Was a Heisman contender late in the year last year. Will once again be one this year. He's paired with some pretty dangerous running backs, Justice Haynes and J.M. Miller, both at the running back position. They do lose their top 3 pass catchers from last year, but they return Kobe Prentice. They bring in Jeremy Bernard from Washington, and their tight end, C.J. Dupree. Pretty dang solid, too. The offensive line for Alabama gave up an uncharacteristic 49 sacks in 2023, but should be significantly better this year, anchored by Caden Proctor. So this is an offense, guys, that's still going to be very, very dangerous. They're led by a brilliant offensive-minded coach in Kalen DeBoer. Really not too worried about the offense for Alabama. They just got to find some chemistry in the pass-catching core, the wide receiver core. That's going to be the big question there. Defense, that is arguably the strength of the team. Yes, they lose 6 of their top 8 tacklers from last year, but they are still loaded at all 3 levels. Deontay Lawson and Jahad Campbell both anchor that linebacking core, one of the best linebacking duos in the country this year. The defensive line, anchored by Tim Smith and Tim Keenan. This is a front 7, really, that's going to create a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks and wreak havoc in opposing backfields. The question for Alabama is their secondary. Even Nick Saban, SEC Media Day, said that. Can they get their secondary under control? Can they fix their secondary? That is the main concern defensively, and maybe some would say for the entire team, for the Crimson Tide this year. Yes, Malachi Moore is still back there, and he is absolutely amazing. But they're going to need to rely on a lot of transfers. Transfers like Damani Jackson, who transferred in from USC, to gel quickly with this defense, to gel quickly in the secondary if Alabama maybe wants to have a shot at returning to the college football playoff. And here's the thing. They absolutely can. The margin of error is a little bit larger now for teams across the country. A 12-team playoff, used to, if you lost one game, you might be out of the playoff. We saw that last year. Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC championship game, and the Bulldogs got put out. We have seen that before where Alabama is sweating it after losing one game midseason, might not be able to get in. But the margin of error is a lot larger now. You can still lose 2 games and get in, and that's a really good thing for Kalen DeBoer's squad this year because you look at the schedule, and it's tough. Alabama, despite all the talent that they do have, and as good as I think this team can and will be, faces one of the most difficult schedules in the SEC. A road trip to Wisconsin in the non-conference, not going to be easy. A road trip to Tennessee, a road trip to LSU, a road trip to Oklahoma, and oh yeah, you get to host Georgia. So you get home field advantage there, but the Bulldogs still one of the best teams in the country. So really, really tough road games, a massive home game on September 28th. It is not going to be easy for Kalen DeBoer's first year in Tuscaloosa. Welcome to the SEC. I do think the Alabama Crimson Tide start 2-0. They will beat Western Kentucky. They will beat USF. And then they go on the road to Wisconsin, where I actually do think they beat the Badgers as well. This is our first trip to Madison since 1928. And this will be, Kalen DeBoer's first true test with the Crimson Tide. But Wisconsin does not have the offensive capability to keep up with Alabama. I think Alabama's front seven does really good things against that Wisconsin offensive line, which is going to be solid, but they were able to get past them pretty quickly, dominate Tyler Van Dyke, force him into a handful of mistakes like he was prone to do during his time at Miami. Alabama, with the offensive edge and with that dangerous front seven, shuts down Wisconsin. They steal the win in Madison. They are 3-0 heading into the bye week before Georgia. And, of course, massive that Alabama gets their 2 bye weeks before 2 of their biggest games of the year, Georgia, and then later that road game at LSU. Georgia, Kalen DeBoer's first SEC game. So, yeah, again, welcome to the league, Kalen DeBoer. We don't ease you in with a team like Vanderbilt. You get that next week. We ease you in with Georgia, who has kind of solidified themselves or is trying to solidify themselves as the new Alabama, the team that every year is going to be a national title favorite, national title contender, and has already won. They won back-to-back titles just a few years ago. So, this is a Georgia game, or Georgia team, guys. It's really interesting to me because even when they've had elite talent, they haven't been able to get over the hump with Bama. Yeah, they won that national title a few years ago, but Alabama has won 8 of the last 9 meetings against the Bulldogs, including last year's SEC championship game that sent Alabama to the playoff and knocked Georgia out of it. But I'm going to go with Georgia in this game despite it being in Tuscaloosa, and it hurts me to do. It really does. I love the atmosphere in Tuscaloosa, one of the most difficult places to play in the country, but I like this Georgia team a lot better right now. I like the quarterback edge, Carson Beck over Jalen Milroe. They've got the running back edge in Trevor Etienne. They have one of the best defenses in the nation. 7 starters back on that side of the ball. Really no true weaknesses on Georgia's defense as compared to Alabama having that small weakness in the secondary. Georgia, to me, is a well-oiled machine right now. They're also going to want revenge over Alabama after missing out on the playoff last year. What could have been a three-peat for the Bulldogs had they won the SEC championship. So I like Georgia to come into this game and take care of business. We've seen Alabama lose big games at home before, not often, but don't come out here and say it's impossible to win in Tuscaloosa. Texas just did it last year. We've seen teams do it. Georgia will get the job done, but it will be close, and people will go after the game, hey, yeah, they lost. That's unfortunate. But they hung with Georgia. They played them close. Kalen DeBoer is going to do just fine. And I believe he will because after that Georgia game, I think Alabama wins 4 straight games. Right? They're going to win 4 straight. They will cruise past Vanderbilt. They will cruise past South Carolina. And then you go, whoa, what about Tennessee and Missouri? Yeah, we're going to talk about those. Those are tough games. No doubt about it. Those are games that Alabama cannot overlook. Those are games that will be close. But you look at the Tennessee game. Last time they went to Knoxville, they lost 52-49, but last year they beat the Volunteers 34-20 after being down 20-7 at halftime. So a brilliant second half by Nick Saban's squad. Alabama has won 16 of the last 17 against the Volunteers. And while this is a major trap game, because I really like this Tennessee team, I look at it this way. Nico Iamaleava is a great quarterback. He's going to do very well with the Volunteers. Can he handle this Alabama front seven? Will he be able to handle it? Luckily, this game is at Neyland Stadium, but still, will he be able to handle his Alabama defense? Secondly, Tennessee's secondary is not good, arguably worse than the one that Alabama's going to have. The Crimson Tide's secondary won't be that bad. Jalen Milroe has himself quite a day through the air. The Alabama front seven rattles the young Tennessee quarterback, and the Crimson Tide get the win on the road. I'm going with the team that has more experience at quarterback. I'm going with the team that has the better front seven. Those two things are Alabama, and they can't overcome the road atmosphere. Then they come back home to Missouri. That's where Tuscaloosa plays a key role. I think this game is actually very similar to Missouri's game against Georgia last year. The Tigers had to go into Athens, big-time showdown. No one was really giving Missouri a chance, but they held their own and only lost 30-21. It was a pretty close, hard-fought game. And I think the same thing is said here. Missouri comes in, holds their own against Alabama. The Crimson Tide don't blow them out, but ultimately they end up winning by about 10 points, getting a win over a very good Missouri team that once again will be in the hunt for the college football playoff, especially now it's expanded to 12 teams. So they win both those games. Massive games, but Alabama, I think, owns the edge across the board in both of them. Then they come out the bye week. The month of November is crucial. At LSU, at Oklahoma, and then, of course, the Iron Bowl against Auburn because they're going to beat Mercer. Can they manage to go undefeated in the month of November, or will they slip up against LSU or Oklahoma? That's a million-dollar question here. Well, the LSU game, not easy at all. We know how tough Death Valley is going to be, how tough it is. They lost 32-31 in overtime last time they came to Death Valley. Bama got their revenge last year in Tuscaloosa, winning 42-28. This is a tough game for me to figure out. It really is. Both these teams going through so many changes. Obviously, Bama bigger ones with their coach, but both teams seeing major roster changes. LSU loses their Heisman Trophy winner in Jaden Daniels. They lose 2 1,000-yard wide receivers. They have a brand new offensive coordinator. They've got a brand new defensive coordinator. They've got a lot of changes on both sides of the ball, and their defense was not very good last year. LSU's was not. Have they fixed it? I think it will be better. I do. But not enough to stop Jalen Milroe and this offense. And that's the beauty of getting this game late, guys. Alabama may go through some growing pains with the new coach and the new schemes and things like that. But those growing pains are going to happen early on. By November, I would expect Kalen DeBoer's squad to be gelling, to be playing at full speed, at full capacity, figuring everything out as they are continuously in the hunt for the SEC title, maybe a college football playoff spot. So I think they can beat LSU. They had won 5 straight in Baton Rouge prior to the loss in 2022. I think they get back to their winning ways, win that, beat Mercer, and then Oklahoma. That's a loss. That's where I think Alabama slips up. I do believe Alabama will lose at least twice this year. I'd be shocked actually to see it 3 times, but I think they lose twice. And here's the thing. If you want to get all upset about it and go, we're not losing to Oklahoma, fine, then you're losing to LSU, right? Bottom line is, I still think you're losing 2 games. And this Oklahoma team, guys, it's a weird trap game for me. First year in the SEC for the Sooners in Norman on their senior day with an elite defense. This Oklahoma defense has the ability to be one of the best in the entire country this year. So you've got home field advantage late in the year. Maybe the Sooners are in SEC title contention. Maybe they're not. But regardless, late in the year, senior day, Alabama, maybe overlooking Oklahoma a tiny bit for the Iron Bowl. That's obviously on the horizon. One of the biggest games of the year for them. Obviously, Kalen DeBoer, his first Iron Bowl. I think Oklahoma doesn't catch them snoozing by any means. But Oklahoma kind of pops them in the mouth early. Alabama's like, holy crap, what's going on? And they can't recover. And the Sooners, behind the strength of their defense and some very good skill positions. Oklahoma, it comes down to offensive line and quarterback. By this point in the season, I think they have figured out those issues. The Sooners get the job done, upset Alabama, and they close out the year. The Crimson Tide do. They win over Auburn in the Iron Bowl. They've won 4 straight over the Tigers, including that miraculous 4th and 31 game last year that kept their playoff hopes alive. Unbelievable game, unbelievable miracle, one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. Now in Tuscaloosa with an Auburn team that's still solid but still not completely sold in their offense yet, Alabama will not lose the Iron Bowl, not in their first year under Kalen DeBoer, and certainly not at home. So with that, Alabama, we have going 10-2 in Kalen DeBoer's first year in Tuscaloosa. And again, if you don't like that Oklahoma loss, then I think you lose to LSU or you lose to Tennessee. Alabama is losing 2 games, and more than likely one of them, if they do lose to Georgia, is coming on the road. At Tennessee, at LSU, at Oklahoma, 3 very difficult places to play. And for a new team, for a team with so many changes, to navigate and win all 3 of those, that would be, I think, easier said than done. So bottom line is get upset about wherever I pick the loss, but regardless, 10-2 is what Alabama will go. I feel very confident in that. But the beauty of it is that should be good enough to get into the 12-team playoff. Might not be good enough to get into the SEC championship. Georgia, Texas, other teams like that might have something to say about that, but that's okay. That's the beauty of this format. 10-2 with 2 quality losses there. I like Alabama's odds to get into the 12-team playoff, and once you're there, anything can happen. But a successful, in my eyes, successful season for Kalen DeBoer in his first year in Tuscaloosa, and the winning ways, they are not going to stop despite the loss of Nick Saban. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to those expert picks, some of the best spread picks in the entire country. Go check them out. Sign up today to become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.